Hi everyone, welcome to another SEGI evening school session brought to you by SEGI Group of Colleges. There are two moderators for today's session. Myself, my name is Valermadi and I am a lecturer come program leader. And we also have Miss Deva. She is a lecturer come licensed counselor. And both of us are from the School of Psychology at SEGI College Subangaya. So I will start off the session for today, and Ms. Deva will conduct the Q&A session, and she will help to end our webinar for today. So I would like to welcome all of you to this live webinar titled Me Time, brought to you by SEGI Group of Colleges. So before we start, I would like to do a quick tech check. Can everyone hear and see me clearly? If so, please press yes in the comment section. All right, thank you for your response. So for those who have just joined in, I would like to again welcome you to this live webinar titled Me Time. So again, my name is Valer and I will be your host for today's session along with Ms. Deva. So a quick briefing to everyone before we start. Our session today should take approximately 45 minutes, and during the session, we encourage you to type your questions in the comment box, and our speaker for today's session will try her best to answer your questions during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. We would also like to remind everyone of you here that we are actually recording this webinar session, and it will be used by SEGI University and colleges for future purpose. So before we proceed, can everyone type in the comment section and share with us where are you connecting from? This is because I understand that today we have registration from all over Malaysia and as well as from other countries. So I'd like to have your response. All right, thank you for your response. It's great to know that we have participants connecting from all over the places for today's session. So are you all ready for the webinar? If yes, please press 1 in the comment section. That shows that you are ready for the webinar. Then we can start with our today's session. All right, let's go. Please allow me to introduce our speaker for today's session, Ms. Ragida Sakti, and she will be sharing on the importance of me time or self-care in managing stress especially. So Ms. Sakti is a clinical psychologist come therapist at Serene Retreat, and she obtained her doctorate in clinical psychology from Cambridge University, UK. And at Serene Retreat, she provides psychological assessment, treatment, and follow-up services for a wide range of mental health issues and addictions. Without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Sakti.
Hello, hi everybody. Can you hear me? Okay. So, hope you are having a good day. My name is Miss Sakti. You can call me Sakti. Well, thank you, Miss Valer, for giving this opportunity to speak about me time to the public. And this is a good platform actually to share during this pandemic time that we are able to share about how to learn to manage our stress. Why I choose the title as me time, I think most of us are forgetting about ourselves. That's why I call it me. That means all of us are not focusing. We are focusing in so many other things, but we are totally forgetting to focus on ourselves. So that's why the title I call it to be a bit more catchy. I call it as me time. Okay. Well, when we talk about me time, I say that learn to manage your stress. Why? So, because most of the time people tend to forget that everyone goes through stress in their life, in their daily life. It could be in their workplace, it could be in their relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be in any environmental factor contributions, or anywhere that we go, there is particular of stress that always follow us. Okay, let's see. Next slide, please. Okay, why am I talking about stress? What is this stress all about? Some people tend to ignore what is stress. I don't really feel stress. Stress is nothing. It's just a word. Or some people say, "Oh, I'm really feeling very stressed." And sometimes they tend to like people question them, "What is stress all about?" So, what is stress? Stress, as you see, is the reaction people have to excessive pressure or other types of demand placed upon them. It arises when they worry that they can't cope. For an example, um, you know this is your level of capability to perform certain tasks, but your bosses tend to give you more pressure on your work and yourself, or setting a high expectation on your outcomes, which you think that you need to fulfill that expectations, but you can't. So this is where you get into stress sometimes. What are the symptoms sometimes? For an example, maybe you can go for the next slide. We can see some stressor will occur regardless of your actions. For an example, like death, you do some people who go through death in their life, they also get into stress where the codependency work over there sometimes. Some stressor can be prevented. Like for an example, if you have a proper time management, definitely the stress will be there. Stress can be good. For an example, like developing some skills and someone to become resilient. Okay, this stress can be good. Some stress teaches how to cope. If you go for some interviews, certain interviewers always tend to ask you a question. So, how well you handle stress? So, what do you really do when you really stress? Why they asking you that those kind of questions? Because they want to know how you really can handle their task or their job. So, because our world is full of pressure, so how are you going to overcome this pressure? So, people who have like achieved that commitment level, so basically they can cope with the stress. So, how do you manage your stress? So, stress can be good. Prolonged stress can affect your health and ability to cope with life. Some people tend to have a different kind of health. For an example, when someone who has stress, they usually can't really sleep, or they have poor appetite. I'm giving an example here. So when you have poor appetite, you can't sleep. That means you can't wake up the next morning, you feel lethargic. So when you come to work, you can't fulfill the potential of work. So this kind of prolonged stress also can be risk for your health. Next slide, please. Okay, what we say stress can be triggered from. Okay, when we say environment, bad weather conditions, raining heavily, and you are driving somewhere impatiently, and full of traffic. How do you feel about that? It's like, oh my god, this rain, why now? You know, that kind sort of things, and you will get stressed and you get fidgeting and you want to on the song, and the song that radio doesn't work properly. So the bad weather sometimes also triggers the stress. Social, like work, school, friends, and finance. Mm, our world is always now we are competing. We are competing with everybody around us, even our friends, our family, our somebody who's close to us, loved ones, for an example. So during this point of time, or maybe for an example, if I'm maybe take it as an example, like your friend is maybe earning better than you, but you're both doing the same type of job. For an example, that also can create some stress. Physiological, like for example, body changes, inadequate sleep and illness, like what I told you just now. Some people put on weight. They, for an example, when they don't really sleep at a proper time and don't take a proper meal at the proper time, they sometimes tend to put on weight. So some people think like, oh my God, I saw you last month, you was quite thin. What happened to you? Are you on stress? Why you put on weight so much? Now you look heavier now. And those kind of things, what also make people stress. Thoughts. So what about thoughts? The interpretation, for an example, like irrational thinking. Why irrational thinking? Mm, when someone have negative thoughts, that means they are attracting. They are attracting these negative vibrations towards them. If you have learned NLP, neuro linguistic programming, you would understand better. Or someone who believe in law of attraction, which I do, so they also know if you tend to pull some negative vibrations towards yourself, you will also tend to get stressed even worse. Next slide, please. Okay, these are the some of the symptoms of stress. Okay, for an example, somebody out there having headaches. Sometimes headaches is I do have headaches, but it's not that I can't call it stress. But yeah, some prolonged headaches. For an example, when you keep on overthinking, you tend to get headaches. So these are also contribution for the symptoms of stress. Low energy. When you feel lethargic, you can't even cope with the work that you're doing. That is also symptoms of stress. Muscle pain. Sometimes your body is just aching for no reason. You have the spastic spot, you have ache on your neck and shoulders. So these are some of the symptoms of stress. Stomach ache and acid reflux. Remember when I say that you don't eat proper at proper time because you lost of your appetite and you don't feel like really eating and all these things. There you go. You get your acid reflux here. Insomnia, yes, when you don't really sleep at night and you like then you tend to fall asleep around 4 a.m. in the morning and then you tend to need to wake up by 6 because you need to get to work by 7:30 in this traffic. So yeah, that's where the insomnia comes in and you need to become zombified at work. Increase of breathing, palpitation. Sometimes you tend to forget that you are overworking and you have this heartache as well. So, grinding teeth, for an example, without you knowing, you tend to grind your teeth too much. Increase of heart rate. Yeah, it also for increase of breathing. So, yes. Next, please. You can't avoid life. Life is filled with situations that inevitability promote um, stress. One suggestion is to change your interpretation of the situation. Consider the following scenario. You are driving on a busy highway and someone cuts right in front of you, then slows down. How do you interpret this situation? I think most of you gone through this situation. So how would you feel? Think about it. Maybe you can answer me later and you can ask question on those things. Okay. For an example, if me, what would I do? I used to get very stressed and angry at that point because already as being a clinical psychologist, I have to see a lot of patients and a lot of um, problems that arise that I need to give some solutions and guidance. And when I'm on the road and I also going through some problems, so and when people do that, I'm like, what? And I toot toot toot, and I'll be like, okay, this I'm getting mad, I'm getting very angry at this point. I used to be very, very stressful person because I never had me time myself. So yeah, at this point of situation, I will be very stressful. So next slide. You can't avoid life if you say it. I would probably yell idiot at the top of my lungs, or I would be irritated and likely have negative thoughts about the driver. Then you have just initiated the fight or flight response. So, you see, these are those things that you can see when you have stress. It's kind of symptoms for you. So, what do you really feel when somebody mm, do that to you? But nowadays, I tend to enjoy traffic. What it does is, I actually When the screen down and put my music, and I'll be singing song and making myself happy. So you see, I believe in happiness is a choice. Why I do that? Because uh, uh, life is short, I believe, and then being stressed and you are already have a stressful day and you can't even be happy. And that is the only moment because most of our time when while traveling back home, that's what we do. We actually hourly, I mean like around hourly or I don't know more than hours, I don't know how many hours you all take to reach home. You all don't really enjoy that moment. Try to enjoy the journey. Try to listen to your favorite music because that is also your moment. Right? So next, what can you do about stress? Find out what is causing stress in your life. Everyone would have gone through some stress in your period of your life. So just check yourself. Where is this stress coming from? Look for ways to reduce the amount of stress in your life. How can you do that? I will teach you. Right? Learn healthy ways to relieve stress or reduce its harmful effects. Change your perspective. How you see your stress. Like for an example, like what I told you just now, I have changed my view on the traffic. I don't really listen to, I mean, I don't really bother about other people, but I just think, you know, so what, this is my moment. Not going to allow anyone to make me stress. So if I'm the only person that can make myself, can allow myself to be stressed. So I'm not going to allow that anymore. So what I do is I'm just being gonna be happy and enjoy. So yes, next slide please. Okay. To answer to stress, self-care. Like for an example, what I say, me time. Okay, me time is intentional time taken by an individual to nurture him or herself physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally on a daily basis. Me time is not selfishness. Remember, me time is not selfishness. Without it, you cannot recharge yourself. Even a car, you can't drive 3 days without stopping anywhere. The car needs rest too, right? So similar, our body is the same. We can't be working 24 hours or 72 hours where someday you're going to get burnout. People, some people don't believe in burnout, but some people they does. So that's where the stress comes in and you tend to become less energetic. Next please. Okay, if to see the ratio now at the moment, 85% of people don't take enough time for themselves. One in two people feel guilty for taking time, me time especially. For an example, when I was working for, I mean, this industry is now for past 9 years this year, and it's gonna be I always felt when I want to take off time, I feel guilty for myself. Where I feel like, oh no, my patients need me. I need to go and create a solution. I need to create this treatment plan. I need to create this diagnosis. If not, they are not going to do blah blah blah. And then at one point, I started to believe that I'm losing myself. So if I'm going to lose myself, I can't contribute to any of the society that I am helping. So I tend to feel like appreciate myself more and I start to take me time. Next slide, please. 4 out of 5 people often feel burnout, like what I told you just now. Some people will feel burnout, what some people doesn't. They don't really think what is burnout all about. So yeah. 84% of people wish they spend more time caring for themselves. Only wishes, but it was not granted as usual. Next, please. 44% of people aren't satisfied with their work life balance. They tend to work home, work home, and then they tend to complain to themselves. Oh my, I never had got off. I don't get off. I can't go for vacation and all these things. But then they're always not satisfied. Even that 1 hour that they get free time, they'll be working because their body and their brain already were automated to be to work. So yeah, over to over 2 out of 3 of people consider pampering themselves me time. Next, please. When you practice me time, what happened? So you can see some changes in yourself. You develop a fresh perspective for yourself. You enhance your resilience in dealing with challenges. You build self confidence. You feel more balanced, career satisfaction, build coping mechanism, makes us more productive and creative. Next, please. Okay. Sometimes me time can be also when you do exercise. Nowadays, people are going for yoga, Zumba class, jogging around the park. That's a good thing to start with actually. When you go walking and also jogging, maybe you can just go for a walk after work to take a KTM. You don't need to drive on that day. Maybe for 3 times in a week you can do that. So this good exercise boost endorphins, which in turns can put us in a better mood, give us more energy, reduce anger, improve mental alertness. Do you believe that people who take I'm sorry, I didn't write the research over here, but I forgot to put in here. But I do read somewhere that before, where it shows people who takes train, for an example, LRT, are less stressed than people who is driving on the road. So yeah, you should read on that research also. Next, please. Okay, let's do this exercise, everyone. Just follow this. Deep breathing. Maybe for now. Maybe now is your free time, and this could be your me time as well. I mean, like listening, right? Listening to me talking and giving you speech. I think you already know about this. I don't really need to give you, in fact, a teaching or coaching. But you know you need this me time for yourself. So why don't we just take these deep breathing sessions for at this point of time? Let's take it as a me time. Okay, now let's focus. Close your eyes. Let me conduct this with all of you. Okay. I want you to breathe in deeply and slowly. Take your moment. Breathe in deeply and slowly. Now, focus on the air moving in your nose, down your neck, into your chest, and feel your belly push out. Hold your breath for a few seconds. Hold that few seconds. Now, exhale slowly. First, feel your belly contract in towards your spine. Feel your belly and you contract towards in your spine. Then feel the air move through the chest, up the neck, and through your mouth. Visualize the stress leaving your body. Do this 3 times a day. It's not a very hard method actually. It's quite easy. People don't really believe in it because people don't really free up the mind at the most of this time. So when you're doing this deep breathing, if you think your mind is too messy and is thinking too much, maybe you can think somewhere, focus on your favorite place or favorite place of relaxation. Somewhere, for an example, for working people, somewhere in your workplace, there should be something that you really like. Maybe watching an environment or maybe a place, pantry or something like that. Take that place, sit back, relax, and do this. All right, see the changes for yourself. Next slide, please. Okay, another method which is very powerful at this moment is also progressive muscle relaxation. This method is used in hypnotherapy quite now. I mean, like quite wide now, which is it's quite really helpful for those who's coming in for work stress related matter. Okay, as being a hypnotherapist as well, I use progressive muscle relaxation for those who comes in with stress. Okay, now let's use this. It's the same kind of things, but it's some people, they feel like, oh, it's so, I don't really need to go out. I got a lot of other things to work on. I can't really go out of my place. It's a small office. I can't really walk around. People are going to tend to look at me. Well, this is where you do while you're sitting on the same place. Okay. While sitting or lying down. Now, let's do wherever you're sitting at that place. Now, we do this. While sitting or lying down, tense the muscle of your feet, curling your toes as hard as you can. Just curl it as hard as you can. You can feel the toes. Then slowly relax them. Do this once or twice for each part of the body. You can start from your toes, up your calf, your limbs, your knees, your thighs, your waist, your stomach, your lungs, shoulder, your neck, mouth, your nose, your eyes, your eyebrows, and your face. When you do this part by part, you can see the stress is releasing from your toes out here on top. Continue this process for each muscle group all the way up your body until you reach your hip. When finished, remain relaxed for a few times. Please try this method as well. It works as well for me. So maybe it should be working for you as well, but I'm not sure. All right. Next, please. Okay. These are some of those things that you can do on your me times ideas. If you ask me what's my me time, I like to dance. I usually go for dancing. Even I do dance myself in the room. Mm. Okay, get creative, be creative. You can even do gardening or long hot bath, bubble bath if you have a bath at your house. So yeah, read a book, watch TV. Outdoor something that you don't really do every day. Listen to music, go swimming, or look at some old photos. Create memories. Or pamper yourself. Why not? Go shopping, get something new. These all are called as me time. Maybe cooking or baking. Next, please. Hmm. People tend to forget something that's very important that create interference in our body. Laugh. That's a simple way that we can do. Of course, people are going to think, are you mad laughing by your own self? What's wrong with you? Watch comedy shows. Watch Russell Peter shows. Watch Kumar shows or something like that can make you laugh. Those things can make me laugh. So yeah, find way to add laughter to your life. Next, please. Okay, so I guess that's all for my slides for today. Hope you all enjoyed my session. You can start asking me questions after this. So yeah,
Thank you so much, Dr. Sakti, for that very informative sharing that you've provided us today. So right now, we're opening to the participants to, provide us some questions. If you have any clarifications you'd like to ask to Dr. Sakti in regards to how to create me time, or I'm trying really hard but I'm still stressed. So any of those things. So if you want to understand a little bit more in creating me time, or how to find ways to de-stress at your own pace, you can ask us any questions at this point of time. Okay. While we wait for questions, maybe I can throw some questions to Dr. Sakti. Sometimes I've had friends, or relatives sometimes saying that stress is not because of me. Stress is because of other people. So because of that, I'm unable to come out of my stress. It's because other people are creating the stress for me. So what is your response to that?
okay. When you see other people are creating the stress for me, so my first question would be, why are you allowing it?
Okay.
So
Sometimes. Mhm.
when you tend to ask questions like, for an example, I don't really bother them, but then they are the one who really bothering me. So why those things is really bothering you? So you need to identify the issues that those words are bothering you, or those actions are inhibiting the stress
Hmm.
for you. So you need to find out yourself what is the stress. That what is
Mm-hmm.
it that really bothering you from other people?
Okay. So basically, what you're trying to say is that a little bit of self-awareness in terms of how, or what triggers you in basically things like that.
Yes, true. Being alert is being alive.
Okay, thank you. Right. Apart from progressive muscle relaxation, breathing techniques, and exercise, sometimes people think that it's very, very, very difficult. Like as if I really need to find time or I need to schedule it into my daily schedules. Then only I can actually do something about it. Like many times I think people think that this is difficult for me to do. Doing this me time is very, very difficult for me to do. So in terms of that, what kind of suggestions you may have for those kinds of people?
Okay. Maybe you're not properly organized yourself. Look at your calendar planner. Maybe like I totally understand that part because I was like that. I'm like
Mm,
that. I always complain to people like when people ask take me time, like what's me time? I don't really find me time. As I known as a workaholic person myself. So I don't really create me time. I never took off. Which nowadays I tend to believe that when people are going to burn out one day and you can't really focus on your work. At
mm,
that point of time, you tend to understand that, okay, I think I really need it now. Individuals don't really tend to understand immediately. Only later part they tend to realize, oh, I really need my me time. For
mm-hmm,
an example, for those who don't self-evaluate themselves, they don't really see the me time is
mm-hmm.
okay.
Right.
Like some people believe that oh, work home, I got so much here things. That means you are not really organized. It's okay to say to your boss, can I have an hour off? I really need my time at this point because your boss would understand. If your boss going to be really pushy and going to be like, okay, fine, no, you need to finish this by this, blah, blah, blah. If you are not stable, how are you going to finish that sum of work that is given to you? So you need to address yourself first, and self-care is more important than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I think what you say is very true because many people think that they keep the self care, the me time to the last minute at the end of the day. Like, oh, when I have time, I'll look into it. So people don't understand that actually accumulates to become burnout, as you've mentioned before. And when they're burnout, they'll be like, why this happened to me? Or
Mhm.
what can I do right now? And sometimes after the burnout, they don't even realize, and then it becomes something else. So waiting too long. Basically,
True.
waiting too long
Mm.
is really not good. What do you think would be the first identification to know that I'm starting the most smallest things or the most start of a burnout or stressful situation or stressed individual or stress psychology? So what do you think would be the first way to identify that?
Okay. Different people, different individuals start with the different things, but it's always focused on the three main things: mentally, physically, and emotionally. So it's
Okay.
either three of these things that will be somewhere the problem starts. Some people they
Mm,
are numb. They have numb feelings. They
mm,
emotionally they can't really feel their stress. So physically the body start to show that they're starting to slow down. They don't really give
mm,
that kind of no more input, that efficiency. Your supervisor colleagues like, you are not as active as before. Then you'll be like, no, I'm okay. There's no such thing as I'm always focused on my work. I come every day punctual to my work. And all these things you don't really feel because you are not seeing out of the box. But people around you can really notice about it. So
mhm.
mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Right. So any of these three things, or the combination of these three things, basically. So when someone else starts telling you certain things that hey, you're a bit different than you were before, or even
Yeah.
you yourself start noticing, basically, like, oh, I'm slowing down, I'm getting irritated, for example, or I'm getting very sleepy, too sleepy, or too tired, for example, I'm getting so lethargy, like you said. So all these things, basic small things, that kind of accumulates over time. I think we have a question. I'm just going to read it out.
Yeah.
It's from Roslan. I have three young kids at home. I can't have my me time when they are awake. The only time I can have my me time at home when all of them are sleeping. So, what activity would you recommend for my me time at home?
Okay. Do you read books? If you read book, maybe that should be one of your me time. Or you can even, it's not necessarily, maybe you have a rocking chair at home. Maybe you can listen to your favorite music or sing along, or just maybe you can do TikTok as well. I think most of people are finding that would be most easiest thing to do at this point of time. So anything that would makes you happy at during that point of time. So yeah, maybe drink a coffee or tea, just on your rocking chair, watch your favorite movie on Netflix.
I think, thank you for that question, Mr. Ruslan. It's kind of triggering in this idea that how do you start? Let's say you've not cared for yourself, right? You've not cared for yourself. You've always, okay, for example, you're working, like you said just now, you're working and then you have to go home, look after your kids, do other things. And basically you're completely occupied all the time. But how to actually start, how to push yourself to start taking care of yourself? If let's say you've never done that, but you want to start, how do you push yourself to start?
I think I only have one sentence for that. Nothing changes when nothing changes.
Very good.
All right, so changes is difficult, so you have to break your patterns. It's something became, when you don't have me time, you are doing something else. It's
Mhm.
it's always a habit of your life. So you need to break that habit.
Okay. So basically, your life, everything becomes a habit, right? What you're doing, how, even if you're becoming a workaholic, that even becomes a pattern and a habit. So obviously, to start that is going to be very challenging, like you mentioned. So breaking that cycle is very important in creating that me time. I have another question for you from Miss Carolyn, and she's asking, how long should be me time?
Okay, minimum half an hour.
Minimum half an hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're very good in knowing how to take a nap, 10 minutes is just enough.
So anyway, I want to clarify. It's minimum half an hour a day, right? I hope people don't think minimum half an hour a week or a month.
A day.
Okay, right. We're still welcoming some questions if there are any. Miss Fowler, maybe you have any questions?
Hi, Miss Sakti.
I
Thank you for joining us. And it was a very good session actually for all of us, especially myself as well, because I hardly find time for myself actually, with my children around me and working and so on, whatever that you have explained. So just actually most of the questions that I would like to ask, Ms. Deva actually she
Okay,
asked
right.
on my behalf, I would say. So I just have one question here. Can I consider sleeping as me time?
Why not? Why not? People do enjoy. People nowadays very hard to get sleep. So if you enjoy sleeping, that if you know what is quick power nap,
Yeah.
if you can get that, that's wonderful. So not everyone can do that power nap. So if you're able to do it, that's good. If you think sleeping is one of your choice of me time, why not? It's not bad.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Sakti.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's all the time. I mean, yeah, that's all the questions from audiences. But I do have one last question for you, Dr. Sati. In regards to for students, especially for young people, especially those just starting to work, and now with the whole pandemic, most students have to join in online classes, and some feel very stressed out joining online classes because they cannot go out, right? So specifically catered to situations like this, what because you cannot go out of the house if you want to I mean before during NCO time we really couldn't go out of the house, but now we can. But how do we actually handle that kind of a stress right now? The
You
best
mean
thing to
asking
do
what?
for the
You mean you
pandemic, so
asking
we have
me
a lot
about
of
students?
restrictions.
Is it?
Yeah, especially for students.
Okay. I know nowadays it's with the online studies and all these things, they couldn't really go out, meet people. Our MCO at least is more to recovery. During MCOs, I think we found a lot of students going through a lot of stress because their environment was different. So when they have to be locked down, and that would create a lot of stress for them. During at this point of time, believe me that somehow, like what I say, the individual need to take steps for themselves. um, Let me put in some what happened during the MCO period. I think I was doing online counseling for 24/7. So at that point of time, there was a lot of, I think I had nearly 46 percentage of students who
Wow.
calling, going through depressions, suicidal thoughts, and because they are lost, they really don't know what to do, and they tend to, like, some got relationship problems, some got family problems, some got financial problems, they need to release, they can't continue the studies or something like that, all kind of sort of things going through. At that point in time, I think what I see, the students usually are focusing too much on one thing, particularly one thing. For an example, these are those are the students you are talking about, majorly who like to really concentrate on education, academic, that based,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't really have outdoor activities, for an example, or they don't have their own activities, hobbies. If you ask me, when we were a child, there's always something like collecting stamps, collecting stickers, that kind of, those kind of hobbies. But if you ask nowadays students, hobbies, what do you do? Oh, I go for karaoke, I go for shopping, I go for video gaming. That's those kind of things that they what they do. They don't really do like gardening. Oh, I plant trees, or they don't do, like, for an example, like collecting stickers or stamps or coins. That kind of things. Maybe they should go think out of the box. All right. So maybe also the lecturers itself, I think they should start coaching them with some other type of activities and events rather than going into more to modern generations.
What do you mean by that? Modern generation?
For an example, now these lecturers also focusing on how they can actually contribute to the now this
Mm-hmm.
generations. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not really coaching them for the olden ages. They don't bring
Right.
back
Okay.
that culture. You see, they
Right.
should implement that culture along with the new generation. So because they don't really know what is this old timer, because some might don't really have, they don't really know what is village as well. Is it a kampung
Yeah.
lifestyle? They don't
Yeah.
even know how to
Right.
play king, how to play guitar, batu seremban. So what's this? Those kind of things I don't even know. They play all
Mm-hmm.
online. So this is what happened when during the pandemic also, because too stressful. They don't have other thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
yeah.
you're saying that basically many of these stresses are coming from being too dependent on external stimuli a lot. For example, like you said, shopping, karaoke, all those activities that you require for you to be somewhere indoors, and
Mm,
this kind of external stimuli kind of like letting you to de-stress in a way, and they are lacking in learning how to de-stress themselves with themselves, like learning to take that me time and do different things apart from using technology in a way.
correct.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
great. Right. So I think that has been a really great sharing with Dr. Sakti today. Thank you so much, Dr. Sakti, for your input. And I think
Thank you.
that's all. Yeah, thank you so much. That's
Thank you,
all we
Ria.
have the time for questions. Anyway, we do not have any other webinars coming up anytime soon. But if we do have, we will update it in our Telegram group. As you can see, this is our webinar link and also the QR code scanner. So if you are interested to join in any other webinars, please join this link and join the Telegram group. Um, Next slide, please. Right, so that's it. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And thank you again, Dr. Sakti and Miss Valor, for starting off our session today. So take care, everyone, and remember to spend time for yourself. Bye.